Boom, share. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Rob Hawk. I am working with the online department. We are presenting these webinars in an effort to help train everybody in using the different tools in Blackboard. Um, um, Today we'll be talking about the discussion boards. So we're going to jump right into this. Can everybody see my screen okay? Should see my Blackboard. Okay, perfect. Um, I'm in my Blackboard course. I'm going to go to the link that says discussion board. And here we are in my discussion board area. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the terminology that Blackboard uses to talk about their discussion board posts. The two big words that will get thrown around are forums and threads. A forum is a discussion board area. It's a sort of a container for all things to be discussed about a certain topic. Um, a thread is an individual posting from an individual. So, for instance, if you're looking at my discussion board area right now, I have 3 forums started. Um, these are just general containers for specific topics. One talking about the dawn of time, one is a self-reflection, and one is a final thoughts. When we go into each of these individual areas, there'll be threads that have been posted by one or more users. And we'll get to how to do all of that. But I just wanted to sort of make clear the definitions of forum and thread. Um, so here's our forums. How do we create a forum? It's pretty simple. There's a big create forum button. And like most things in Blackboard, you're going to start with a name, and you generally want to keep these short, like you're writing an email, short to the points, and any filler information should come in your description area. So if we're creating a new forum, for instance, and we're talking about current events, I can make this a current events forum. And then in your description area, this is where you want to give more detail about what the forum is, any directions you want your students to follow, that sort of thing. And throughout Blackboard, you'll always have this text editor feature where you have some ability to format your text just like you were using a word processor like Microsoft Word. That you can also even include links to websites. You can upload videos and images. It's even got some special features where you can include things such as math equations and things like that. Uh, if you ever have questions about how to use the text editor or anything like that, you can always email me and we can set up an appointment to go through the text editing tools more thoroughly. But if you're used to using something like Microsoft Word, the text editor tools are very much similar. So you'd want to give your forum a description. So we're discussing current events, and I could say something to talk about world events in the news. Once you finish with your description, you move on. This next area, form availability. Availability is a common option in all your things you do in Blackboard. This is where you make this item available to your student users. you can make it immediately available. You can also set date and time restrictions, which is a great feature for setting up your things ahead of time and allowing them to auto deploy on their own. When you use the date and time restrictions, you just check the boxes. If you want something to display after certain dates and time, you set those in these boxes. Likewise, if you want something to display until a certain dates, you can also set those options. You can set these independent of each other or simultaneously together, or not at all. If you leave them off, then the general availability feature will be what displays your content. If you set your availability to no, you'll have to manually go and release it later on. Once you set your availability options, then we move down to the nitty-gritty of your forum creation. And these are all the different settings that your forum has. Your standard view is the standard view. In a standard view, your student users can create their own topics, their own threads without any, and view all the threads without any problems. If you change it to participants must create a thread, then in order for your student user to see any other threads inside a single forum, they have to post once. And then once they do that, all the threads will appear for them. That's an interesting feature to use if you don't want your students sort of mooching off of each other, if you will, when they're creating a discussion. When you do set the participants must create a thread, that automatically sets several other options in your settings. So when you do select that, there may be some extra things that ride along with it in order to make that particular feature happen. When you get to the grading, by default, there's no grading in the forum, but you can select it to be graded. When you do, you'll see that other options have been enabled because you're selecting this. And just like the participants must create a thread feature, there are certain things that have to happen in order for this to work properly. So it will automatically go and set certain options for you. But once you do select this, you can assign a point value for the forum. And when you submit this this forum creation, it will create a grade center entry as well. And when you go to your grade center, you'll see a column for the forum. You can also grade the threads individually. If for some reason you want to do that. This means that instead of giving the student a grade for posting to, creating one or more posts in a single forum, every individual thread you could be graded. When you do select that feature, it stops the students from creating new threads. They have to respond to a thread that you've created. And that's just a way to control how many Grade Center entries are created. Once you finish with your grading options, alignment, there is a feature that NEC hasn't quite implemented yet. They're working on it. We're working on it, called alignments. Once it's been created, alignments would actually be more useful to you. For now, you could just leave it set as the default form alignment. Subscribing, this is just like if you're using any sort of social media and you want to subscribe to individuals' posts, or on YouTube when you subscribe to a channel. When you subscribe to a forum, uh, you receive email notifications each time a post has been created. And there are different ways that email can be formatted. Um, by default, it will be set to allow members to subscribe to the forum, um, and it just includes a link to the forum every time they receive the email. But you could actually have it include the post in the email itself. Um, you can also allow your students to just subscribe to an individual thread. So instead of this subscriber to the forum where many threads could be created, they could pick a particular thread and say, I just want to see responses, know when responses come to this thread. And you can also just turn off subscriptions if you want. And then the last set of options, the create and edit and the additional options, these are all just things you can tick on or off. You can allow anonymous posts, is exactly what it sounds like. You can allow people to create posts without their name associated to it. You can allow, by default, your students are not allowed to go back and delete their posts, their threads that they've created. You can allow them to do that by selecting this option. When you do that, you have two different options you can assign to it. You can allow them to delete posts that have no replies to it, or you can allow them to delete any posts they wish that they've created. If a post they've created has threads associated with it, their post will be deleted. The other threads will remain, but they might not make any sense contextual wise because the original post is gone. You can also, by default, your students cannot go back and edit a post they've made, but you can allow them to do so. It's a nice option for allowing them to go back, and if they've posted something and then they go, I didn't really say that clearly enough, they could go back and edit the post. Or if they see, a massive typographical error, they could go back and edit that as well. By default, it is not set. This option, allow members to create new threads, is really, by default, it's not checked. So that means your student users have to reply to a post started by you as the instructor, or to a thread that's already running. They could reply to other students who have replied to the original post by you. You can tick this off, which would allow them to create brand new threads without they're not responding to anybody. They're just creating a thread inside that forum on their own, and they can create multiple threads. You can allow file attachments. That's pretty straightforward. And there's a feature where you can quote other posts in the forum. And that's what this allow users to reply with quote does. It gives them a little tool where they can snip it from another post and include that in their post as a reference. It's included by default. You can turn it off, in which case they can't use that tool. This feature, forced moderation of posts, you can assign, well, you as an instructor are a moderator to all the forums. That means you are the grand overseer of everything that's been posted, and you you review the posts that have been made, but the students cannot see them unless you've released them to be viewed. And uh, when it's unchecked, as soon as a thread is created, it's out there for the students to see. But by checking this, then you have to release the threads for the students to see. You can, and we'll get to this too, you can create other moderators as well. You can assign students to be moderators of forums. If you want a little help, or if it's part of a group exercise, it's a good option. In our additional options, post tagging. If you're a user of social media, you see this all the time, hashtags and things like that. It's very similar. It's just a tag, one word to associate with this forum or thread. Somebody's posting about current events in Europe, they could, hashtag Europe, and they created a tag for it. All this is a way to add additional things for people to search against when they're searching the forums inside their class. And then another social media tool they have included is allowing people to rate posts. It's a 5-star rating. That's pretty straightforward. Once you've set all the options that you wish to use for the forum that you're creating, you just submit it, and it gets added to your discussion board area. Here's our brand new forum we've created, current events. Here's the description I've included. Now, your description might be fairly long, and when it is, it all appears in this area. So keep that in mind when you're creating the descriptions for your forums. If it's multi-paragraphs, you'll see all paragraphs, and it's still fairly readable and legible, but it can get very cluttered quickly. The other things you see in this area, the total posts column, just what it sounds like. It's how many threads have been posted into, and responses to threads have been posted into that particular forum. Unread posts, though this is individual to you as the instructor, or I should say as to you as any user, instructor or student. Anybody who comes to the discussion boards, they'll see how many posts that they have not read yet. So in our current events area, there's no posts yet, so there's nothing for me to read, but in a couple of my other forums, there's been posts by students, but I haven't read them yet. And then the unread replies to me, that's, again, specific to the particular user who's looking at the discussion board area. And that's replies to threads that you have posted. So if a student replies to another student, that wouldn't get marked in the unread replies to me, but if it was a response to something that I as the instructor have posted, then I'd see a tick in here for it. And then of course the last column is how many people have participated thus far in that particular forum. All right. Let's see, where are we going next? Right. Another tool in this area I want to talk about is the search button. I don't, if you've ever used online forum, this is very similar. You can do a search inside all the forums that you have inside your course. You search for keywords, and then you have the option to search in all your forums, or you could select by checking off one of the boxes a current discussion board. So I could say inside self-reflection, I want to search for a keyword. And then you can just do a straight search for keywords, or you could even say keywords that appear within a certain time frame by using the date and time options on the right hand side here. Once you finish filling in all your options, you just hit go, and it'll show you relevant hits in all your forums, or in some cases in just a specific forum. So this is the high level. These are forums. We're going to now delve into a single forum and look at threads and working with threads. We're going to jump into my Dawn of Time forum. So first I'm going to just start with creating threads and replying to them and such. So to create a brand new thread, you just click the Create Thread button. And this will look very familiar. You have a subject line and your message. Again, you have the text editor to help you create your message. Your subject line, you want to keep brief and to the points. And then the last area you have in your thread creation is you can include attachments. Generally, you'll probably browse your computer, which if you've ever attached anything to an email, it's exactly the same thing. And then Blackboard has a feature called Content Collection, which we'll discuss in a future webinar. But it's essentially your own private stash of files that you keep on Blackboard that you can include in your different courses that you instruct, and you can browse the content collection and search for file to attach as well. So we're creating a new thread. I'm just going to say, check this out. I found this online. It is interesting. And if I had an attachment, I'd add it, and then I'd just submit my my new thread. You can save your threads as drafts. One thing I've learned in the years using Blackboard is sometimes Blackboard can time out, or something will happen and you accidentally hit the back button, something like that. So saving something you're creating as a draft, well, we'll keep a copy for you. When you come back, it'll still be there. I always recommend to people that, if they are going to make a long post, that they might want to do it in, say, Microsoft Word or some other word processor, and then copy their content and paste it into the text editor if it's really long, just in case, so they save a copy for ease of access, or if they need to repost it. Once you created your new thread, go ahead and submit that. And now here's my new thread that's been created. Check this out. I can see that, it's published. If this was a moderated forum, as an instructor, I would see, if it was a forum that a thread that I haven't released yet, it would be unpublished, and I would have to go and publish it out to the students. The students don't see the status area. Again, I can see unread posts. These are responses to the thread itself, and then unread replies directly to myself, and then the total number of posts, very similar to the forum area, the upper level forum area. So if I click on the new thread I've created, here it is. Pretty basic. You'll always notice, as an instructor, or if you have a forum manager, they'll have a special icon next to them to announce that they're the leader of the forum area. as a student, if I want to reply to a thread that you have created, I can simply click reply, and it keeps the thread that I'm replying to showing for me, which is nice if I need to reference it. But otherwise, it's exactly the same format: subject, a message, and attachments. Um, I can change my subject if I wish to. By default, it's always going to be an RE, just like if I was replying to an email. Um, uh, you can change this if you wish, um, but we'll do a simple response just so we can see what that looks like in the hierarchy of the threads. Um, boop, boop. All right, so here's the original thread. Here's the reply, and you see that RE, it's a response to this. I was talking about the quote feature earlier. If you wish to respond using a quote, you can click the quote button, and inside my message body, it shows who I'm quoting and the part of the message that I'm quoting, and I can add more to the response. And once I submit it, we'll see that here's my response and here's the quote that I quoted. You'll also notice that once threads start getting responded to, they indent. And that's a great way to follow a tree of responses. Um, uh, this is something I've just created. Let's go look at something that's already been uh, in use. Um, here's a thread that I started called Big Bang Theory. And we can see that there's a couple of responses here. Um, here's a student response, and then here's my response to the student. Uh, it's all very similar. The one thing that is a great tool is when somebody responds to a thread, you as an instructor get the option to email that author directly, and this launches the Blackboard's email tool. And again, it's just a simple form with a subject and a message. But if you need to respond directly to that student for a particular reason, maybe you like the post, you want to tell them about it, or if you think they're a little off base and they might need a little help, you could respond and to them directly without other students seeing your response to them. And again, I have editing turned on, so I can edit and delete. You as the instructor can always edit and delete threads. If for some reason something's been posted that's inappropriate, or any other reason that you could think of, you could use these tools to go back and either delete the post entirely or edit the content inside. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Also, we talked about the subscribe button earlier. I'm inside a particular forum right now. We have the subscribe button right here. If I click this, I'll get a little message at the top of my screen that says subscribe to the forum. Any messages that get posted to this forum, I will get a notification via email that something's been posted. And you'll see that my subscribe option has changed to unsubscribe. I can turn that off just by clicking it again. And now I will no longer receive notifications. You can also, if the options are turned on, subscribe to individual threads. They would also have their own subscribe button. I don't have that option turned on for this particular forum, but So as an instructor, you have this display option far to the right of the gray bar. Uh, these these are, if you read them, they're pretty self-explanatory. Essentially, it allows you a way to quickly open things that you have seen or you haven't seen. Um, so I could select show all. It would show me all the threads in the forum. I could say only show me the published ones. Um, Show me only the hidden ones. If I click that, I shouldn't see anything because I have nothing hidden right now. But I could go back and say show all, and everything reappears. Um, it's just a quick way to navigate through your forums. Let's see. Let's go to that. All right, and oops, there's our new forum that we've created. So here's our new forum we've created, current events. We'll see there's no threads here. Um, I'm going to create a new thread. And I'm going to now log out of uh, my faculty account. I'm going to come in as a student. I go into my course here. I'm going to go to our discussion boards, and here's all kinds of information. Now, say now I'm logged in as my student account. I have some unread posts here. Somebody replied to a post I made. Um, Here's a new forum that I haven't seen yet, so I'm going to go here first. And here's my instructor saying, let's talk about COVID in the world. And then I can reply to my instructor as a student and make a response. And just like in the instructor view, you know, I can reply. I have a lot fewer options here as a student, and I like to show this to everybody just so they have an idea of what their students see as opposed to what they see as an instructor. I can't edit or delete my response here. Um, I can reply. I can even reply to myself if I have more to say. Um, you also have all users have these message action buttons. If you want to mark threads as read or unread, you could do so using these buttons. Um, um, and I could also collapse all the threads together or expand them back out. Straightforward things. Let's go back to the main discussion board, and here's the big area where there's been lots of posts. And here's a thread with all kinds of responses. Here's my instructor made a response quoting me, so I'm going to respond to that. And you'll see it continues that indentation tree format. If I was to create a new thread in this area, let's see, I'll reply to the main form. Um, You'll see it doesn't indent. Whoops, well, slow down. Oh, it doesn't indent. It starts its own sort of tree of responses. So I've posted a new thread, and anybody who replies to that, those will be indented in association to this one, but not to this tree of responses and threads. Um, and that is the student view. We'll jump back into my instructor account. Um, and that is the discussion board area in a nutshell. The great thing about the discussion boards is they're asynchronous, so your students don't have to be logged in when you're creating your forums or your threads. They can respond at their leisure, and this is just a great way to have conversations going without the need of everyone being present at the same time. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Rob. This is Jim. I had a question. I assume you can, how do you go in and modify the settings on a forum that you've already created?
Oh, sure. Let's take a look at that.
Thanks.
We'll go to our self-reflection forum. Like most things that you do in Blackboard as an instructor, when you create something, they generally have a contextual menu associated with the items. So here's our different forums. Here's my self-reflection. And when I hover over it, I always get this little chevron. When you click that, you get your little contextual menu. I could open it, which is the same as just clicking on the forum itself. I can edit it, which would let me edit the main features of the forum. So I could edit the name, the description if I needed to add more information to that, and the availability, your forums, your different forums. If you meant to allow a thread to be editable or not editable, you could change all that here. Just by going to edits, and once you're finished, you submit your changes, and they'd automatically apply. Managing a forum, this is where you could go to assign manager roles to the forum. We talked about the forum being moderated, so you can see here. Here's my faculty accounts. And you see that I'm listed as a manager, and here's my student account, and they're listed as a participant. I could set my student account to be I could edit their role and make them manager, a moderator. You can even go so far as to making people graders and such, which is true throughout your Blackboard course. Let's go back. Anything else important in that? You can also copy and delete forums. Copy would make a whole copy of the entire forum. You'd have to give it a new name, and you tell it whether you want to keep the forum settings or you want to copy the entire forum. And if you can copy it into any course in which you're rolled in as an instructor. So I have one course here, but if I had several courses in which I was instructor, I'd see the list and I could copy that forum or that forum settings directly to another course that I'm instructing. And then, of course, you can delete a whole forum, which you always want to be careful of whenever you delete something, because if you delete a forum, every post in that forum is gone. And if you're grading that forum, then you've deleted all the student grades associated with that forum. Does answer your question, Jim?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other questions?
Hello, Rob.
Hello.
So you brought up an interesting point about the grading. So how do you grade it? And the other question I had is, in the search option, you said keywords, but what if you want to search what one student put in? Would you be able to put a name in the search criteria?
That's a great question, Tatiana. Let's take a look. I've never tried it that way. So let's explore together. Let's do a search. So my student account is named Rob, so we'll see we'll search all the forums for Rob, and we'll see what happens. Well, it looks like it. It looks like it's found all the. Of course, it'll show Robert as well because Rob's inside Robert. But looks like it's showing me every post that that name appears in. So yeah, it looks like it'll search the names as well. And then your other question was about grading. So let's walk through that real quick. Let me go and edit our current events. Our current events forum, and we'll turn on some grading for it. We're going to grade the forum, and we're going to give it 100 points. Is there a couple extra options here when you turn on grading for a forum? In your control panel, you can show which participants need grading using the needs grading status symbol, and how many after how many specific posts. But if you turn this off, it'll just show up in the grade center area. But if you check this, it'll show up in the discussion board area itself, and you'll get the little needs grading symbol when you look at the user's posts. You can assign a due date to a forum if it's a gradable forum, and of course you could attach a rubric to the forum if it's being graded as well. So we're going to turn on grading for this current events thread, and I think I have a post already. No, okay. I will log in as my student account. We'll make a reply, and then we'll jump in and grade it. All right, go on my discussion board. We're going to current events. So looks like we're discussing the COVID in the world. I will reply. Make my reply, and all right, and then as instructor, I come in. I go to my discussion board and my current events. I come in, and I can see that I've got some responses. So if I go to my grade center, I can see here I've got a column for my current events discussion board area, and I can see that here my student account needs a grade because I've got the needs grading symbol, and it's pretty much the same. You just come into your grade center. You can view the grade details. If you go to needs grading, it'll also show up here. So I could go and say grade all users, which brings you to a very familiar area if you're used to grading assignments in Blackboard. It shows me the discussion board area, the response the student made. I can put the grade in the attempt grade area, and I can give the student feedback, which won't appear in the discussion board, but when the student views their grade, they'll be able to see the feedback, which is a nice way to respond to the student without having to, respond so all the students see it. That's pretty much it. Straightforward. Does that answer your question, Tatiana?
Yep.
All right. I knew you'd have a question for me. Anything else I can answer? All right. Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us this morning. This is recorded, so we will be posting recorded webinars for people to view at their leisure. And I am here to help faculty with any technical support they need with Blackboard. I have drop-in session times from at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays and 10 a.m. on Thursdays. You can also email me with questions at rhawk@nec.edu. Once again, thank you for everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Rob,
Thanks,
can I ask a last question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You mentioned that it was going to be posted somewhere, and I know there's other things, there's various Zoom webinars and
Yes.
things. Where are all these things getting posted? So even we could go look at ones we didn't even sign up for.
Correct. I think we're still just sort of sorting out the details of we're getting things posted up, and then we'll have to get something out to everybody to let them know where to find everything. But yes, so if you weren't even signed up for something that we've already done, you could still go and view that webinar, the recording of it.
Looking at, like some link or something at some point.
Yes, yes. Sharon Sable should be sending something out once we get ourselves sorted out. Like you guys, we're adapting to the new dynamic.
Live, right?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop our sharing and stop our recording, and thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Rob. I did have a question still.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
So I